Abo for ni metie for nyina nso ejo. So na bibia bokọ de NPA treaty was saying.
Obo the other Roma is barely a week in the hot seat.
Very well. You take it time we settle. We settle the best round. Why? Na bibia
can. That's so. But any opportunities are mama rana opposition politics. Make I say my last media engagement or encounter was with your platform.
Kessben.
Na sadani edin kombo bebre. We are determined say some na me edin kombo bebre ewo opposition. Yedini na bebe.
Okay.
Your social contract your Ghana for no. We have
very well. But quick one, is the party and the government on course for especially the first promises are more than within 120 days and yamani be a moka be accomplished, you know. I mean, so far, what can you say? Is the NDC as a government and a party, you know, on course to delivering what you promised the Ghanaian people?
Once again, Sebi Obia or Shobo. Or you determine say obedi sa abortion no so no on all the timeline edit so sebi and me no edi and come na me can see you Mr. Speaker echina na ama echina enye dachi echina eno ano no it is a kobaso say ye campaign near the Ghana force within 120 days upon assumption of office. That's barely 4 months. It means we are determined because if you 120 days requires mathematical precision. So it doesn't lie in your mouth to say 120 means 100. First, to demonstrate that commitment. And Oman Penny Boshe said, obey you see only 64 ministers. Now, the conversation that came up, a bit so, 60 ministers should not include regional ministers.
Yes.
Obey so, we, Oman Penny said, minister is minister. Once I watch about, say, 60 ministers, and 60 ministers. Plus, including everything, 60 ministers.
Yes, I do.
That's, 45 of them have gone through parliamentary vetting, leaving a few more to go. That alone should tell you. Okay, so within 14 days, of them making sure the cabinet is in place. I can report confidently, say, we are on course to achieving that. Two, or can say, 120 days, or best set up a committee to advise the government on the way forward, particularly on pre-secondary education. I can say confidently, say, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, as Minister of Education, has already sworn in the committee and very soon to start their work. Professor George Odro Eda and no other. But say Ghana economy, no, it requires the FN of inclusiveness.
Yes.
Seven. Company obey no requirements. Or no one give. Okay, also knowledge is vast. Yankopon answer, yes, me answer, Papa Puchin. Inti MP, no, the friend of fertilization. What I say, man, not your school near baby pollination. Exactly. And your money be. Yes, idea, friend of honey. And your money be the womb. In the money, yes, and yes,
exactly.
Exactly. Now, same you, yeah, papanom, yeah, nananom, our can say, almost say, you just son. And maybe no, you say, Sana, I day, actually. And you know, I can't memo, yeah, nananom, at the star of the bono, at the after, you know, you say, save you. And you become a and young coupon, these guys in answer, at the man. It's in the answer table, no. Mr. Speaker, about the Kanaki. Obi to the castle, Mr. Speaker, Kano, Mena no Yaki, and Waso, because of this superior view. At the end of the day, he has built a consensus. He has shown the way forward for secondary education in this. Of this, H. John Dramani Mahama has said, yeah, Obeja, it has come to stay.
Kessben.
On the core issues of governance, you can say, a idea as we speak, Attorney General of the Republic, and so to an among Union Sabi, including but not limited to the fact that Obiti said Johnson Asiamah, the newly appointed governor,
yes,
of the Bank of Ghana. And let me place on record, we said the constitutional provision burden on the appointment of the governor. It only says that the president, in consultation with, what I say,
yes,
one can say the president with the prior approval, because who said a idea Millennium Senior, after your marking, the article be abetuga and a letter to Command Penny about Mr. Asiamah. The constitutional provision under reference does not talk about prior approval. Into OSHA carefully, the constitutional provision on appointment of minister uses the word approval. Approved. The constitutional provision involving on appointment of justices of the Superior Court uses the word approval. The Supreme Court in the seminal case of G.H. Mensah and Attorney General was quite clear. Said the use of the word prior approval is not a term of art.
Okay.
It does not connote any technical meaning except to say prior approval. And prior approval simply means you require the approval of B before the action can take effect. So that is distinguishable. In the case of the governor, it doesn't use the approval of the Council of State. If in the superior wisdom of and you see constitutional text, you are a student of the law, just as I am.
Yes,
constitutional texts are read as a whole.
Exactly.
And in order to ensure internal consistency, the framers uses impulsions approval and impulsions consultation. That's what I say.
Yes, I do.
And the two are not the same. The two are not the same. So, Malene Senior, with the greatest respect, should not be misreading the provisions. Because in the letter that he wrote, he gave an example using justices of the Superior Court. What he failed to say is that for the justices, the Constitution uses the word approval of Parliament. But what I say?
Yes,
and that is why when the President is done with everything, the justices of the Supreme Court must go back. What I say? They must go back to Parliament for that prior approval process, without which no validity is conferred on them. That is fundamentally different from the issue on appointment of governor.
So in this instance, the president has not erred in terms of law.
Absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, the president, having been soundly advised legally, proceeded to do that particular appointment.
Okay.
But what I say?
Yes, I do.
In fact, Osha President Anadu Dankwa Akufo-Addo in appointing Natushi as the administrator of the District Assembly Command Fund. He did the approval of Natushi much before the consultation process. And you see, consultative is not binding. And there's significant legal text to that effect. But what I say?
Yes.
In fact, the case of Ghana Bar Association versus the Attorney General, when President John Dramani Mahama appointed Justices Waman and Justices Yao Apao, the Ghana Bar Association proceeded to the Supreme Court to say that the Judicial Council, and that one is upon the advice, the Judicial Council has recommended 4 justices and ranked them. When the ranking got to the president, who has the power to appoint, what the president did was to pick not in order of the ranking made by. So for instance, the Ghana Bar Association did the ranking 1, 2, 3, 4. So the president chose from number 4 up. You get the point I'm making?
Yes, I do.
And they say, no, once we have ranked them 1, 2, 3, you can only go by that ranking. The Supreme Court rejected the position and said it is an advice.
Kessben.
If the recommendation becomes binding, then the one doing the appointment is no longer the president, but the person who is advising. Do you get my point?
Yes, I do.
Because if you do the ranking and say it is mandatory and that it is binding on the president, what effectively you have done is to say that the person who did the ranking is the one doing the appointment. It takes the power of appointment from the president into the one doing the advice. And the Supreme Court authoritatively rejected that proposition. Much the same with this scenario. So clearly, the Honorable Alexander Afinyomakin Malene Senior has completely gooped on this one, but it's permissible in law for you to err.
To err, very well. And I mean, if you are to mark your own script, I mean, in the last 1 month of assuming office, how much will you mark yourself? Not your fancy.
What I don't usually like with marking is that when you are marking, then you want to have a situation where there are a scoring mechanism.
Okay.
And you see, what the president is doing is a product of the mandate. What the people went to the election and, as it were, cast their vote and gave him a 1.7 million vote difference. So usually I prefer that the one doing the score, the one doing the marking, should be the good people of Ghana.
Very well.
You understand? So that, like we say, Nemo Judas in Kasaswa. I do not want to be accused, I'm part of government now, of judging myself and behaving in the manner that, what shall I say, leaders like Bokassa were accused of. I will leave that one to the sound judgment of the people of Ghana.
Very well. Council, Anope, I'm highly grateful for your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, too. And that is lawyer Eduji Tamaklo, acting chief executive for the National Petroleum Authority.